And we're back. And happy to be back for another week. Sorry we were gone last weekend. A lot of business, a lot of people traveling, a lot of events going on. But we are back. Welcome to this exclusively special broadcast of Black Friday, not for sale. Not for sale. It's Christian. We got Chris. We got Dayla. This week we got a special guest. We got Amanda Spears, the one and only Amanda Spears. I'd hit the applause button if I had it. I don't have it. I'm sorry. Amanda, how you doing?
It's great to be here. Thank you so much. Doing great. It's so good to be here. Thank you, guys.
Oh, man. Tell us a bit about yourself, Amanda. What do you do for the people here that don't know?
Yeah, for sure. So as of right now, I'm a regional field coordinator for the Leadership Institute. So basically, I oversee the state of Florida and our campus outreach program, help students out in Florida with their groups, with outreach, recruitment, speaker grants, that sort of thing, through the Leadership Institute. Really enjoy it.
The Leadership Institute is lit. Guys, got to check out LI for all of your campus and training needs, especially like Chris says every single week, run for office. LI has a training for you if you want to run for office. So they have plenty of stuff and, plenty of resources available for you. Amanda is also our wonderful graphic designer that we have here. She puts together everything for us each week at my demand, and I demand a lot, so she is fantastic.
This is true. Happy to do it.
Amanda comes through all the time. Excited to finally have you on. This is a long time coming. I'm so excited.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, so what a week. Yeah, I know you're back, man. You're back. It's been a crazy week. I mean, not like crazy as far as political sense. I mean, there's Joe Biden with his gaffes that keep happening and the media ignores. I mean, that's just every day. But Texas is literally frozen. The state of Texas is frozen, and unfortunately, people have died. The week before, there was a horrific 138 car pileup, and numerous people died in that as well on icy roads. And it's bad. It's really, really bad out there. I'm very fortunate to live out here in South Florida. It's 82 degrees outside every day right now, and I can't complain about it. But everybody else is going through it. But life is good over here, man. I'm blessed, gotta say, to say the least. But my goodness, guys, it's been a heck of a week. Yeah. Check in on your friends, y'all. Especially you watching, check in on your friends. Make sure they're okay.
Yeah. For real, it's been insane watching all of the infrastructure in Texas kind of crumble under the face of these storms. I know a couple people out there, and they've been just trying to survive without water, electricity. So really good to text anybody that's there right now.
100%. Look out for the people that you know. It's really sad that our country that used to be the top dog in the world, snowstorms taking down our infrastructure. Our infrastructure is from the 50s. We have a terrible infrastructure. We really need to work on that. I feel like, maybe this is something that the government, instead of, giving money to Iraqis to talk about gender, maybe they should throw a couple dollars that way. But I guess we'll see what happens. It's Joe Biden, so probably not.
It's true.
Yeah. I mean, I guess my only take on it is that a lot of people, talk about, big government sucking and not, relying on the government for a lot of stuff. I think that this should be a major example for the rest of America, and especially for Texans, to be self-sufficient and not rely on the government for, certain things make sure you stockpile or whatever that may be. But I don't think that, Americans should solely depend on the government at all.
No. I do think, though, this issue kind of runs bigger than that. I think there's only so much that people can do by themselves, and then there's just something that is out of hand and out of proportion. We can't control power and water getting shut off like crazy, and then freezing, beyond freezing everywhere. People are just froze out of everything, beyond compare. Even the most prepared people are still just rough, and they're not having a great time with it. Omar, we miss you. Feel better, buddy. Get better.
Take some medicine, man. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, I hate to hear you're feeling not so good.
The first thing here that we have on the agenda, I don't know if you all heard, just recent news here, is that Kim Kardashian has officially filed for divorce from Kanye West. I don't feel like Kanye is down bad necessarily. I mean, it's a terrible situation for the kids, but man, I don't know. What do y'all feel about this?
Yeah, I don't know, like, exactly. I haven't heard her put any statements out or anything, but from what it looks like, Kanye, like, really changed his life around. Like, whether that's genuine or not, that's not, for me to judge, but maybe she's not going to line up with his decisions to become more traditional, more conservative, more Christian, and, have more strict values in his life. So if that's like the reason that she's, going for a divorce, that might be a good thing in the long run if he's going to stick to his principles. I'm not sure though.
I really thought he had turned the corner. I really think he's doing incredible things, raising his family right, bought land, more modestly living. I've heard a lot of the recent music going on with a lot of different songs, and all of his verses are clean. They are still clean. He's dropped a lot of pro-life verses too, especially. He talks about babies being aborted every day in a lot of his music, and like people don't even realize like this guy's putting out more Christian pro-life music than the Christian artists are. So I'm like, man, that's Kanye West. But yeah, I mean, he also dealing still with mental illness. I mean, the bipolar disorder, and he's still dealing with that and handling that. It's not easy. I'm not gonna act like it's easy. Those are things that people are gonna, but when married, you say in sickness and in health, for better or for worse. I mean, how much does that mean to people now anymore? There's probably more to the story that we don't know. I'm not gonna act like I do, but this celebrity stuff, man, it just gets under my skin.
Yeah, it is. I feel bad for the kids, I really do. I also, I don't want to completely blame Kim, so I would say I feel just a little bit bad for her because I try to put myself in her shoes and think about it like, you marry somebody and then they just completely change from who you married. And whether it's for better or for worse, it's not for me to judge, but, it is unfortunate that they can't, bring it back together and save their marriage. I mean, they're not divorced yet, so it could happen, but I don't see it. I mean, it's also celebrities. I mean, celebrities get divorced like every Tuesday, so I mean, I guess we'll see what happens, but I really do hope that they're able to work it out, at least for the kids, because single parent. Well, I guess they're millionaires. Never mind, they're fine.
Dayla, what you got?
I mean, I kind of agree with what Amanda was saying. I feel like if Kanye did turn his life around and Kim isn't on that same path, it doesn't make sense to just stay, together and your whole lives are just going separate. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're a Christian, if something doesn't, is something not benefiting you and your Christ-like journey, it's better to drop it than keep it along that path. So if Kanye did change his life and he's given his life over to Christ and Kim isn't, then he should definitely, do what's best for him and his relationship with God.
Man, I just feel for the kids. Of all things, man, they've got beautiful children together, and I was blessed to not grow up in a split-up household like that. And a lot of other people aren't blessed to have those types of lifestyles, and I can't imagine what that's like, especially on an elevated status like with the celebrities and everything like that, where your life isn't private at all. So like everybody's gonna know your business, and you can't just be kids growing up. So it's got to be beyond tough. I feel bad. I just feel bad about it. But off to more of a rocky start there. I mean, more pop culture talking that happened. Unfortunately, I believe it was today. Other news today: Texas is frozen over, and Ted Cruz has some very not reliable neighbors and friends that live next door to him that leak text messages. Unfortunately, so Ted, don't trust your neighbors or friends ever again. They're horrible people. But he took his family to Cancun when Texas froze over. And he's getting a lot of backlash for it. And he apologized. And, every Democrat and Alyssa Milano and everybody's playing for his head. And Ted. He said. Yeah.
I think this is like really unfortunate. The fact that, I mean, it just hurts. It hurts Republicans so much. It really does, the conservative side, because, I really do think in this instance, Ted is very much a hypocrite, because 100% if a Democrat did this, he would be the first one to call him out. He would be saying like, this is awful. Look at what they're doing in Texas, or whatever state it was. I mean, I'm pretty sure the mayor of Austin during COVID, during the first lockdown, went to Mexico. Not Ted Cruz didn't call him out, but all Republicans were calling him out and saying like, "What do you mean? Like you left and you went to Mexico and you're trying to tell us that we have to not go on vacation?" So I'm pretty sure it was Austin, but I just think it's hypocritical. He may not have had the power to make a difference, but it doesn't matter. You are a representative of the people. You should, be there with your people. They voted you. You're supposed to, be up to a higher standard, or at least not be stupid and go to Cancun, go to DC. There's power in DC. Like, it made no sense. Why would you go to Cancun? Like, he was asking to get like TMZ'd in that instance. I don't feel bad for him. I don't really feel bad for politicians when they're like, this comes out, because it's just like, oh, well, you just kind of proved yourself to be just a run-of-the-mill politician, I guess. All talk, no action.
Yeah, optics-wise, it's definitely a nightmare. He definitely shouldn't have apologized. Like, if you bow to any of that cancel culture, you're gonna get, you're gonna get criticized more. So everybody, all the conservatives, like influencers, like politicians, they keep apologizing for everything that they do that people don't like, and because of that, it makes everything they do look bad. Because if they keep apologizing for stuff that they originally believed was the right thing to do, like he was saying that he did it for his kids. So whether or not that was a great thing to do, whether or not that was a smart thing to do for his constituents, doing it and then coming back apologizing, that just makes you look even worse. So I think we really should take a lesson from that in the conservative movement and stop constantly second guessing everything we do. Now, obviously, if you do something and it's it's super wrong, apologize for it. But if you strongly believe with your whole heart that what you did is right, don't just sit there and turn around from what you did. So,
man, Amanda Spears, you have some fans here. I'm gonna air all your food here.
Shout out to John. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Amanda's got shooters out here.
Yeah,
Amanda's got shooters out here. Yeah, real one.
Thanks, guys.
Our first celebrity guest.
Man, she brought the heat today, I gotta say. Oh man. Thank you for being a fan. Please like, share, subscribe. Always appreciate y'all.
Tune in every week.
Taylor, what you got?
Oh, I mean, I didn't really read into this much. When I first seen it, I really didn't care. I mean, I don't care. As a private person, I mean, if Ted Cruz wanted to go to Cancun, okay. I mean, are you jealous that you couldn't leave and leave when there was something going on? Like, but then as a politician, I read what his statement or whatever, and I started to question it because, he said that he did it for his children, his daughter. But my question, if I was a Texas resident or if I was one of his constituents, my question would be, why didn't you just send your kids? Where's your wife? Where's a godmother, a nanny, or something? Send your kids and you stay as a elected official or whatever like that. So by him, I guess what Amanda was saying, by him coming in, apologizing, making the statement, made it look 10 times more worse on him when I read into it. Because when I first just heard about it, I was like, okay, and like, but when he made the statement, it's just like, you kind of dig yourself in a hole there. So.
I'm going devil's advocate here. I'm going to be the bad guy. I don't really think Ted did anything wrong. I don't necessarily think it's comparable to violating COVID restrictions by any means, because it's a natural disaster and it's very, very bad. But there's nothing that he can literally do about this, and I don't see any responsibility that goes over his head for it. They've been asking for aid, and that's from the federal government to come in and go and do so. I mean, it ain't too much for Ted to do. I mean, it's bad optics for sure, but yeah, when you apologize to the mob, they all just crawl all over you and just beat you to a pulp. And that's where Ted messed up. And another thing is everybody wants to take virtue signaling photos, act like, hey, I'm helping. Here's me pouring a bowl of soup. Like, that stuff's so disingenuous as it is. Like, I'd rather somebody just, literally go to Cancun and just flaunt in front of a camera or cry outside of the Border Patrol facility at the border. And, I want to see something real. Like, just just be real about it. I got to give Tedowitz credibility for that. He messed up by apologizing, but other than that, I don't think he owes anybody an apology for it, in all honesty. And you got to go ahead and live your life. But the media makes it out to be like he put COVID positive people in the nursing homes and killed thousands of them. But it's crazy. It's crazy how that's going.
I hope he enjoyed Cancun, though. Maybe his kids got a tan, or something like that. I'm sure why people were like freezing. I mean, I'm from the north. I freeze all the time. I'm used to it. Texas people, they're not used to it. I feel bad, especially. I mean, like I've never lived in the South. I'm sure people down there didn't have like jackets and gloves and all of that. So I really do feel bad. Like I'm prepared for it. I have what I need when it gets cold. I mean, I think it's like 10 degrees right now. I'm pretty used to it, but people in Texas, they really aren't. So I do feel bad for people in Texas. I hope that it's doing better now. I think Biden finally said something about it like 4 days after the fact. So maybe he'll do something. Maybe he'll go to Texas.
Yeah. I definitely feel for the people down there. Like the infrastructure was not prepared. Like I know somebody in Tennessee right now who just moved there from, a warm climate, and they're getting humongous storms right now. And they have maybe like 4 or 5 snow plows, and they're waiting, a long time for the roads to be plowed. I'm originally from Chicago, so I'm used to it. Like I'm used to the snow. I'm used to really cold winters. But when you have none of that infrastructure, you don't know how to deal with snow. So I definitely feel bad, and like they need supplies that they don't have down there. But
it's so unprecedented. I don't know. Nobody saw this coming, and even our best meteorologists didn't predict anything like this happening. So where are you gonna put this on? Who's like it? It's just now you see the legitimate errors and where things are like needed to be fixed. Power, water, pipes, old, rusted, frozen, all that stuff. Like so. Hopefully they get their act together, get this stuff figured out now so that this doesn't happen again, because this is really bad, especially in 2021 of all years. Like, this isn't something that, is supposed to be happening. Like now, of all time. It's not supposed to happen now. So, yeah. And still staying in Texas here, we've got good old Mark Cuban situation, the national anthem. I mean, I'm not a Mark Cuban fan already as it is. I have my personal vendettas against the guy. I got my own biases. But, I mean, Dallas Mavericks as an organization, you're in Texas of all places, and they decide not to play the national anthem. They just don't play it. And, of course, people are mad. People are outraged. And then, then there's the woke people that just say, they don't care. And the NBA, realizing that they're losing money, they keep continuously losing money by crapping on the flag and everything like that, are like, no. The flag, the national anthem's got to be played at every game. It's going to be played at every single game. So now we're in the whole discussion about it, and I actually have mixed thoughts about it. I'm not sure how I feel, but Dayla, how do you feel about this?
That's a tough one. The national anthem and at sports events, I mean, it's tradition. It's been done for as long as I can remember. I mean, I'm pretty sure as long as the NBA has been around, so why change something? I mean, I don't get why change it, but maybe I'll have something else. Someone will spark something for me.
Yeah, we'll go around. Amanda or Chris, one of you two.
Amanda, Amanda, go first. Tell us what you think.
All right. Well, I read the article like a while back. So from what I remember, he canceled it for the whole season. Is that what he said? He wasn't going to let them like sing the national anthems at any games for the rest of the season. Is that right?
I believe that's true. Like, I believe they're it all together. So
I was reading a statement by him, and he was like, we haven't canceled it like forever. We've canceled it for a little bit. I'm like, what are you saying? So you're not going to support America for a little bit until like it goes into like whatever form that you want it to be in? Like the whole point of being a patriot or being proud of your country is that you support the people, you support your nation, not you support like the people in office or you support the specific policies. So I just think it's really stupid that people will choose to be patriotic during certain times and not patriotic to others, because you want to look at your country as like the people in the country, not just the people in Washington. You're not just supposed to support DC. So that's kind of how I see that. And like the lack of patriotism shown in, TV sports is really sad to me. I don't think it represents just the policies. It supports the people too. So that's kind of my view on that. And even like kneeling for the national anthem, all of that sort of stuff, I'm not a big fan.
Amanda did spark something, I guess. So let me go. I want to jump back in, and I guess what she was saying about about it representing the people, and that's I guess what I would say about the national anthem is that just by doing it, it's even the Pledge of Allegiance. It's just symbolizing, unity amongst the people here in America to show other countries that we are a united front, regardless of what president's in the White House or what policies or whatever it goes on, that we can come together and be a united front. When we don't do things like that, it shows that we are weakened as a people and as a country, and that's a bad look for us towards the rest of the world. So I that's my take, I guess.
Yeah, I wonder if they're playing the Chinese national anthem instead. I really wonder.
Soon, probably.
Soon, seriously. I wonder if they legit had a TV deal worked out in China somewhere. So they're like, oh, we're gonna scrap it for now while we're playing in China, and we'll come back later.
Yeah.
I don't conspiracy.
Well, see, with this now, I might be the devil's advocate because I've never watched an NBA game, and I'm pretty happy to say so. I honestly hate basketball. It's a really boring sport. I mean, I was fat and short. I couldn't do that. I never wanted to play basketball, so I'm not gonna watch it. But I mean, I do like football. NFL's all right, I was never big into watching sports, but if people want to kneel for the anthem, I don't. I mean, it's disrespectful, but I'm not gonna make you do anything. I'm very big on the don't make me do something, I won't make you do something. So if you want to kneel with both knees, I don't care. It's whatever you want to do. Same thing with if Mark Cuban wants to say okay, so we're not gonna play it on my team's at halftime, or is it before the game? Yeah, before the game. We're not gonna play it anymore. If he wants to say that, fine. Everybody who loves America, who's a Mavs fan, stop watching the Mavs. Stop being a Mavs fan. It's just the free market there. Stop buying tickets. Stop watching the NBA. Stop watching the NFL. Show them that you disagree. You have the market power to do so. He's a billionaire because people buy his products. People buy his things. I know that's not the only thing he does, but, if you just stop supporting them, then that I just don't like the hypocrisy. Now I think he's a hypocrite because NBA is all buddy with China, and then they want to call out the injustice of oh, this cop killed a guy. I'm like, oh, they're killing a couple million people over in China. Did you know that? That's hypocritical. But I hate the people who are sitting on their couch stand for the anthem, but they never miss a game. Turn it off. I don't know what to tell you. Stop showing your support. That's just my thing. Do what you want to do. This is a free country, do what you want to kneel. If you want to stand.
It is, but the NBA isn't the U.S. government. They're a private business, so they can say you better stand your hands or you better go ahead and do it. And so that's where I come in, and I'm like, and here's where I'm mixed on it, because here's the thing: would you rather see them crap on the flag and kneel every single game, or would you rather them just not play it and not have to worry about it?
See, I think
the
NBA
that's a conundrum here. That people are what do you want to see?
Yeah, if the NBA wants to tell people you have to stand or you're going to get fined or you can't play, that's fine. The NBA is a private business. I don't really care. But if people what I hate is that people want to get all upset over players doing it, and when the NBA really didn't say anything about it, or they were letting people, or same with the NFL. The NFL wasn't saying anything about it. People were getting upset. I'm like, okay, well, obviously the NFL isn't going to take action, so take action yourself against the NFL. If the NFL is not doing what you want to do, stop watching. And that did work. A lot of people stopped watching the NFL. I'm pretty sure their ratings dropped pretty hard. I really didn't watch
the NBA did as well. The NBA is really taking a big hit. And I think that's literally why they said you have to stand up, is because they took too big of a hit to, they're not trying to recover from so many losses anymore. They did it all last year. Putting BLM on the court was one of the worst PR moves they could have ever done. Literally, one of the worst things they've ever done.
Exactly. So, it works. That market power works. Stop watching, stop buying the jerseys, stop going to the games, and they will listen to you at the end of the day. I mean, why do you think the NHL never does it? Because to be honest, everybody in the NHL is like all guns in America, and who watches hockey? We all know that. The demographic.
Yeah, Canadians and mainly Caucasian white people for the most part.
There you go.
But I'll tell you, the most patriotic sport I can see right now is mixed martial arts in the UFC. I think that's the most patriotic sport you could ever find. Nobody kneels. Everybody handles their business. There's no political statements being made unless it's Colby Covington getting a phone call from the president himself after a fight. And it's fantastic. It's one of the best things you could ever watch. It's fantastic. It's great. But also Mark Cuban himself, he's the guy that won't stand up to China. He's got no backbone when it comes to it. He's the guy that's a billionaire with a welfare mindset every time. And at the end of the day, I do think he's bigoted. I think he's bigoted. I think he has low expectations of black people, and I don't think he thinks black people can function normally like anybody else. And I'm not a big fan of babying us. I'm not a big fan of babying people for any sort of reasons. And no, I mean, kneeling for the national anthem, it's stupid. We're not going to play it anymore. It's just one of those things. The national anthem isn't a political statement. The American flag isn't a political party. Saying the Pledge of Allegiance isn't edgy. None of these things should be controversial whatsoever. They shouldn't be.
Right.
Yet people make it that way. They've made it this way, and that's where I'm frazzled, man. I love sports. I'm a big time sports junkie. I love this stuff, but every time I see this, I'll turn it off. I turn it off, or if I'm watching an NFL game, they talk about all their social justice stuff 20 minutes before the game. I mute it.
Right.
I mute it and I go do something. I literally do that. I'm done.
See, I'm not the biggest sports person, but I was really big into theater. And when Hamilton, for instance, they would stand up on stage and start calling out Mike Pence, at the end of the show or in halftime. That is in halftime, in the intermission. That is not something you do as part of your performance. You're paid to perform. You don't make everything into a political statement. And that's what we're trying to do with everything too, which is horrible. Not everything has to be about politics. Not every single thing that you do in life has to be a political statement. And I really hate that everything is now, whether it's sports, whether it's theater, whether it's a TV show you're watching, whether it's, the new Netflix show, everything has politics mixed in.
It's almost inescapable now, and it's the world that we live in. And so do we try to change it? Do we try to live with it? Or do we try to, change the narrative and change the trajectory? What do we try to do with it at this point? We're in deep into this stuff. So what is it? And at the end of the day, I think my favorite quote of this all was Michael Jordan. If you haven't seen The Last Dance, one of the best documentaries I've seen in sports, all about MJ, he literally said, Republicans buy shoes too. And that's at the end, that sums up so much, in this world and business and everything else. You can't alienate 50% of the market and expect to have a great turnout, to expect to make a lot of money and expect for people not to hate you. You can't alienate half the country and expect to have great results. You can't do it. You just can't. So, I think that's where that boils down to. And okay, I love getting into sports. We don't really do that a whole lot, so I've kind of ran off on that myself. But now we got Joe Biden himself getting the Pfizer vaccine. Chris, I know you had some stuff you wanted to say about this. This is your
So we have Joe Biden at the Pfizer plant. I believe this was a couple days ago. He was saying that people have to continue wearing their masks after they get the vaccine. Honestly, how far are we going to go with this? What point are we going to be able to return to normalcy? It's going to continue until they can tell us to do whatever. I'm just really sick of it. It's very much a political stunt. All of these Democrat states and cities, now that Joe Biden's elected, is it's time to open up. We have to open up. It's been long enough because they know Trump's out and they don't have to destroy the economy anymore. They have to bring it back for Daddy Biden. They have to heal the country, the unity that they're aiming for. But if they see somebody without a mask, shank them. It's really getting to a point that I don't understand what they want anymore. Well, I mean, control, they want that, but I don't know. I don't think Biden even know where he is half the time. And he probably wears the mask and continues it because there's probably like a speaker on his back that's like just talking for him, like somebody's just talking to a microphone somewhere. But I don't know. What do you guys think about continuing wearing masks, continuing social distancing for the foreseeable future? We don't have to stop this, I guess.
Do you want to watch the clip? You want to roll the clip?
Yeah. Play the clip.
Rolling clip. All right. Ooh. Getting this up and airing.
This is a process, but we know now the fundamental basic elements. The fundamental basic elements are that before you get the shot and after, if you get the shots, and after, social distancing saves lives. Wearing masks saves lives. Making sure that you wash your hands with hot water saves lives. This is not hyperbole. This is not a political statement. It's reality.
Now, I won't lie. When he opened up that book and his mask was in the book, I honestly thought it was a pop-up book. I was like, who gave this man a pop-up book? But I just noticed that. I thought that was funny. I thought it was a pop-up book.
Good Night Moon. He opens up
yeah.
Good Night Moon.
But I don't know. What do you guys think about this? When are you guys gonna, when do you guys have your vaccine scheduled again?
Never.
Yeah.
How about never? I'm never getting tested. I'm never getting the vaccine. I'm sorry. That's not what I'm not about that life. I've never gotten the flu vaccine. I've never gotten the flu. My brother, on the opposite hand, has always gotten the flu vaccine, has always gotten the flu. It's kind of weird and annoying. But anyway, that's so weird to me because like washing your hands with hot water, common sense, cool. Social distancing, continuing to social distance after getting the vaccine. That's interesting. What isn't the vaccine supposed to, isn't this supposed to be new technology, right? This RNA changing or altering vaccine, that this new technology that's supposed to be oh so great. So why are we continuing to social distance after 2 doses of a life-changing scientific outbreak vaccine? Very confusing to me. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's crazy because I've gone to several states that are not that big on masks, like, Florida, for instance. People are totally fine. They're acting normal. I come out here to Virginia, the DC area, and everybody is like so paranoid. Like, it doesn't matter if they have 2 masks. Most people are wearing 2 masks now. And I'll be walking down the street and they will literally like cross the street, like walk through traffic to go to the other side of the street to avoid me. So that I don't know, I'll have a mask on, they'll have a mask on. We'll still be 6 feet apart on the sidewalk, but they want to go to the other side because that's how paranoid like people are starting to get because, they're watching and they're taking the administration seriously on these things. And it's like, first of all, you'll walk across the street, but we'll go into a store and you're totally fine, like waiting in line. Like just the double standards are insane. And the places like Florida, like the cases are not rising like they should be, according to Joe Biden, because nobody's wearing masks there. And the people that are, they're being, normally conscious about it. But everywhere else, people are being so paranoid about it. And it's the same amount of cases. So it makes 0 sense. The double standards are crazy.
This lasts as long as people let it. This will last as long as we let it. I've said this a few times before. It'll last as long as you let it happen. The longer you let them just play this stupid stuff out and the longer you let them take away your freedoms, they're just going to keep rolling with it. Until people say they've had enough, then they'll just keep doing it. Why would they stop? They won't stop until people said they've had enough. And when I plan on getting my vaccine, I can't tell you that, but I can tell you when I'm planning on buying some more ammo.
Next week.
I can tell you when I'm planning on buying some more ammo. I can tell you when I'm planning on making my next purchase. I can tell you when I'm planning on, exactly. Seriously, yeah, gosh, after all these things. When am I going to get my, am I refusing? Refusing what? When is there ever anything that was required of me? Am I refusing? When was this ever ordained into law that I have to have these things happen? When did I have to get a COVID test? Says who?
Yeah.
That says who? My goodness. This is still the United States of America. That's the one thing about the, it's South Park. I thought this was America. Yeah, I thought this was America. My gosh, I thought this was. These people, Amanda, I can't live in places like that. I was in California for 3 weeks visiting family, my parents and everybody. I was done after 2 days. I could not deal with it anymore. I love my family. I love them all and everything like that. But when I haven't seen family in so long and they won't give me a hug, I'm done. I'm out. I'm sorry. I'm out.
Yep.
I'm out.
No, I hear you. I've talked to so many. Yeah, I've talked to so many doctors, so many like people who work, in that industry where they deal with it on a daily basis, and even they're the ones who are like, these masks do nothing. Like, the virus particles go through these masks, and every single person that I've talked to that work on the front lines or work as a nurse, work as a doctor, work in like construction where they have to wear masks for particles, that sort of thing, and people, all of those people are saying these things don't work. So it will keep going as long as we want it to, as long as, the people in Washington want it to. So.
And they're going to want it to go on for a long, long time. Until Joe Biden does, probably, which could be any day now, but, it'll probably go, it'll go for a while. Unfortunately, I mean, at this point, I'm not saying like, rise up or anything, but stop listening to it, man. I mean, if a private business says you got to wear a mask, I'm not saying go into Walmart and hate on a person that makes $10 an hour. That's kind of messed up. Stop being a Karen. But, if you're outside and somebody tries to tell you to put a mask on, flip them off and just enjoy your walk in the park.
I don't generally do that. I'm too nice for that. But I will give them the death stare like I'm in the mob. Like, I know who your family is and everybody that you love, and if you don't stop, they might disappear. Like, I'm gonna give them that look. I will give them that look 100 times. And then if you literally don't respond and just stare at them, I think they stop. They generally do stop. They don't know what to do.
Yeah, totally fine with like, private businesses, small businesses doing whatever they want, totally fine with that. That was the first, like, before the mask mandates were a thing. Like, if they wanted to do that as a small business, as a private business, sure, maybe I may or may not agree with it, but it's gotten out of hand now where everybody's, enforcing it. And I was walking around, that new law where you got to wear a mask on federal property in DC the other day, and it's a very weird vibe because police officers will start following you around if you don't have a mask on. It's like, oh, what did I violate this time? It's insane how big of an issue it's gotten.
Just sneeze on them. They get too close, sneeze on them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've had enough. I've just plain old had enough. I'm beyond done with it. Everything, all of it. I had so many people that died in nursing homes that weren't able to see their family because they thought that they were like all these things. You can't see family, can't do. They shut down the country. They shut down everything, and people lost their loved ones. They lost everything. They lost their livelihoods. But get your vaccine. Still got to wear a mask. Still got to social distance. You can't hug your family. Can't hug your loved ones, and you're gonna die very, very far away from them. I'll take my chances. 10 out of 10 times I will take my chances. Screw that. It's not worth living that life. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm out. So, man. Ayla, I know there's something that you had specifically wanted to get into.
Yeah. So apparently, the NAACP filed a lawsuit against Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani, and the Proud Boys for the U.S. Capitol insurrection. And I was reading up on it because I found it interesting that apparently the lawsuit contends that Trump and Giuliani violated the Ku Klux Klan Act, which is an 1871 statute that includes protections against violent conspiracies that interferes with Congress's constitutional duties. And I had never, ever heard of the Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871. So I just found this really interesting. I just want to bring it up and see if any of you guys heard of this act or are more familiar about the NAACP of suing Giuliani and Trump and the Proud Boys, which is interesting. I'll definitely be following up on this weekend and learning some more information. But what do you guys think about that? The Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871.
Is this a civil or a criminal lawsuit? Like, what are they seeking? Are they seeking like money for damages, or are they seeking like trying to get them in jail?
No, I think it's a civil lawsuit, to be honest. It doesn't really go into much. Of course, this is the Shade Room. This is just a little synopsis of what one of their bloggers put, but I personally think it's a civil lawsuit.
So they're gonna have to prove that they were damaged in some sort of way in order to receive money here, if that's really the case. So good luck. Good luck.
I mean, we'll see. I'm not 100% sure, but it's supposed to be about the damages for riots, and also just in general their allegations towards election fraud. So.
Huh. That's really interesting.
And apparently it's through the Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871, which is supposed to be an act that protects Congress of interference with any violent conspiracy theories. So I never even heard of that. So I just thought that was interesting. How about you, Amanda? Have you ever heard of the Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871?
I have not. This is all news to me. I didn't even know they were filing a lawsuit. So yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, I got to read up on that because that's something that's interesting. My question is, why haven't we ever heard of this? I mean, why haven't there has been other lawsuits that the NAACP, filed, but why haven't they filed anything against this Ku Klux Klan Act before? Because I mean, I remember they filed lawsuits in Charlottesville, which was supposed to be a Ku Klux Klan rally or a white supremacist rally, right? So why? This is interesting that they're bringing out this statue now, this 1871 statue. So
they're trying to label 75 million Americans as Ku Klux Klan members and terrorists, and that's despicable. And this is why we'll never be unified. And this is why I don't want to unify with these people. I think they're evil, and I think they're disgusting. I want nothing to do with them.
It's interesting because the people who truly organized the Ku Klux Klan, the Democratic Party, because NAACP is a leg of the Democratic Party. We all know this. So the true creators of the Ku Klux Klan has their cronies going after, citizens and trying to label them as conspiracy theorists and Ku Klux Klan followers. So that's interesting.
Yeah, Omar just brought up a good point in the comments. Like, what about those reparations, or what about, all of the businesses that were totally wrecked? I heard so many heartbreaking stories of businesses that were put out by these riots. Even in my own town, there were many stores that were totally vandalized. It cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to repair their windows, their storefronts. So what about all that money? It's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Honestly, those people who are spending all summer getting some Nikes or that new Xbox or all those pictures of people in Target. Look, it's awful. Feel bad for you, Target, and all those people lost their job. But those are some funny pictures. That guy who had like the Legos and like the Target's on fire, and he's like holding a box of Legos walking out. That was pretty funny. But it's ridiculous. I don't know. This lawsuit, wherever it goes, I mean, if they're seeking money, I wonder how much money, and from who? From Trump? From the Proud Boys? I didn't know that they had like a Chase bank account that they're just about to withdraw, $2 million. The Proud Boys or Giuliani. I mean, who is going to be paying this? And then is it to the NAACP? I don't know. I've never heard of the Ku Klux Klan Act. It really is that they really are, like Christian said, they're trying to label 75 million Americans as KKK members, as the alt-right. I don't own a wooden cross or bed sheets. I am not prepared for this. So I just wanted freedom and liberty and stop paying so high taxes. But, it's okay. $5 for a gallon of gas. I guess that's not too bad.
Another thing here is what they're going for is something that could potentially backfire in the future if they succeed with the precedent that it sets. It's very, very dangerous. Is what becomes labeled as conspiracy, what becomes labeled as supporting the Ku Klux Klan, and what goes against the U.S. government. It attacks everything. This is literally an infringement on the First Amendment. It's going to come down to what it's going to turn into. Literally, it's going to come down to a big time infringement. And for people that want to speak their mind or that want to do things, and then they're going to equate words into actions, and that's very, very dangerous. unless it's like a legit call to action. Like then they're going to equate like anything that you say is going to be violence, and that means you can be prosecuted and go to jail. And like that is insanity for what that will lead to. It is dangerous depending on who gets into power. Whoever gets into power and can wield that, my goodness.
That's interesting that you say that the NAACP draws up this lawsuit right after, that Trump is acquitted for the second time, because one of the main reasons why he was acquitted was because they couldn't really do anything on that grounds of him exciting by like the figure of speech versus you actually exciting the violence or whatever. And this makes sense. I'll read more into it, but what you just said would make sense, that they're trying to change the meaning of conspiracy or what real free speech and what that entails. So that's interesting. Something to keep in mind of, or for everyone too, about our free speech, that, what can we say, what's going to be exciting violence or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, there was that big thing a couple days ago on Twitter where people were like talking about like how much they self-censor themselves on Twitter just already because of, how strict the new Twitter guidelines are and how many people are getting their accounts deleted. If something like this goes through, like more and more people are going to be quiet, which hate speech, again, there's that fine line. Like if you're going to have something called hate speech, anybody can make up any guideline, like anybody can be offended at anything. So someday somebody will be like, I'm offended at the word apple, and every single instance of that has to be deleted offline now. Like the guidelines are arbitrary. If you're going to create hate speech, anybody can make that up.
Censorship that offends me. Can they please like get rid of that? Because I mean, honestly, like I feel like we're all pretty much the same age. And if you guys played games, I mean, you guys remember the Xbox 360 lobbies, man? Them boys used to. They would be ruthless. Old Twitter used to be ruthless. Old YouTube used to be ruthless, man. I don't understand how this generation that grew up through that, now it's like, well, you didn't say my pronouns, and now you have to be banned on every platform ever. Like, let's all just take a deep breath and just remember, you can turn it off. You can turn it off and you can walk away. The sun will still be shining. If somebody did not call you the right pronoun or somebody called you a mean name on the internet, thank the Lord that you can unplug it and you can walk away. We will survive. I don't even have Twitter because it's toxic. But like, I made that decision, but I mean, I'm glad I don't, because now I wouldn't be able to say anything on it.
Right. Yeah, it's your choice to be on that social media. It's your choice to follow those people. So if you don't like it, unfollow them, block that person. Totally recommend using the block button, but stop blaming it on everybody else.
You know what other button you guys can use? You can use the like button, you can use the share button, and you can use the subscribe button here. Guys, make sure you tune in each Friday to Black Friday. We're always here every Friday.
Follow and subscribe.
Little plug in there. Oh, man. No, absolutely.
There you go.
It's really dangerous. It's so dangerous, the precedent here that they're establishing. And this is like, in going into like Trump's impeachment case in the video there, like they used the video of Nick Fuentes as like evidence.
I heard about that.
Oh my gosh, this is so, they were so lame with it. I'm like, how do people even take you guys seriously? Like, this is beyond just comedy. It's just total comedy. Those guys, it's a clown show and they're wasting our money doing this stuff. And the NAACP is supposed to be nonpartisan. It's supposed to be like a nonpartisan organization, but they don't. Ever. So
it's definitely not.
No, all that they do is they just take right-wing people. They're like, right wing. Both of you must be exactly the same. Nazis. You're both Nazis. It's like, you could be like, I saw a tweet. I have no idea who. Well, it was a tweet that was on Instagram. Again, don't have Twitter. I don't remember who it was, but it was just like 90% of Republicans just want to be left alone. Leave us alone. We're not right wing. We're not, super far right or anything like that. And I'm like, yeah, exactly like that. Most Republicans are like, just leave me alone. I don't really care what pronouns you use. Just leave me alone. And that's where it's at. But they want to tie those Republicans in to like Nick Fuentes isn't a Republican, but let's say right-wing people, they want to tie them together and be like, oh, well, you're all just evil white nationalists. And it's like, no, just actually, can you just like stop taxing me so much? Thanks. I'd appreciate it.
Yeah. Politics is a spectrum. And like everybody who works in the actual everybody who works in politics knows that it's not one party, it's not another party. Like there's certain like right wingers that are very far right. There's certain leftists that are actual leftists, and liberals. That the PragerU video, liberals versus leftists, like that tells a lot about. There's two different facets of it. Same thing with the Republican Party. There's multiple facets. There's moderates. Like people are in between on that spectrum, and you can't just equate like the radicals with the whole party.
No. They're the ones that get the most airtime. Well, I mean, if
you're going to be edgy.
Radicals, I mean, the apparent right-wing radicals. I want to say like in quotations because far right means what does far right exactly mean? Because the media calls everything far right or radical or white supremacist or all right. And everything's all right. So I don't know what that means, but like, yeah, they only put up certain things over there, like very, very small things that happen. And they're like, that's what everything is. And like, no. In comparison, like not all lefties are Antifa, but all Antifa are lefties. I mean, you know, and it's how the things are going. I mean, it's how everything's portrayed in the media, and people just drink up the Kool-Aid on that stuff. So, you know. And if you guys don't already follow, I got to give a shout out to our coworker Katie Daviscourt doing her citizen journalism out there in Seattle. Yes. She's out there like every night, and Antifa is literally like battling Black Lives Matter like right now, and like all these other like insurgent groups out there. Like they're not getting along. Really? They're beating each other up. It's bad, y'all. Like they're bear macing each other. Like, it's just
her stories amaze me every day on Instagram. Like I watch her stories, I'm like, man, it's insane what's going on over there.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know, I got to give it to her. Like, she needs a medal, and like, she is braver than I. I would not do that. When I see people wearing black masks and hoods, I'm like, I'm just walk over here. I ain't going over there. She's in it. Like, so.
Yeah, every day. Yeah.
You. Kudos to you. I couldn't do that.
Oh man, not at all. So another conversation here. Earlier this week, Herschel Walker, testified in front of Congress that Black Americans shouldn't get reparations, and that didn't sit well with a lot of Black Twitter, including some of the so-called conscious Black conservatives that we may or may not have heard of, and some very notable people, but they don't get any clout from me, so I'm not naming them. So, and they called Herschel Walker a goofy and all these things, and because they want their money and they think that they're entitled to it. But I mean, yeah, the man's allowed to have an opinion without everybody just ripping him a new one for it. He went in front of Congress. People go in front of Congress all the time with stupid stuff. I think he made some valid points here. It's just, it doesn't really seem feasible to me to actually put this into legislation to make it happen. I just don't see it happening. What do you guys think? I mean, just back in general, reparations. What are we doing? How are we doing it?
I don't see the government doing it well, so let's not do that. I as much as I want for the Black community to be able to be lifted up, because it does not. There has been a difference in history. As much as some people want to deny that and say, no, we all have the same opportunity. Well, no, actually, not really. I mean, there is still such a thing as privilege. I'm not saying white privilege is 100% a thing, but there is privilege. If you had two parents, you had privilege over somebody with one parent. If you grew up in a house that your income was $100,000, you had some privilege over people who only make $30,000. I mean, that's just what privilege is. Now they twisted that word and made it like super taboo now, and so when conservatives hear it, they're like, but it's just more of that. I would like the Black community to be able to be brought up to kind of an equal level, but I mean, I grew up in the Black community. We all seen it with the stimulus checks. You can't just give people money and expect them to make good decisions with it, like especially a large sum of money, and just make they're not going to just be like, you know what, I'm going to invest this money. No, they're not going to do that. I mean,
Indian reservations, they're getting it right now. The Indian reservations are getting it right now, and those people aren't living fantastic lives. They're not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see reparations helping as much as I would hope. But honestly, My big question is, how much are they talking? Because at this point, everyone got unemployment. I didn't get unemployment. I'm trying to get my government cheese too. So, what number are we talking here? That's I'm curious.
I don't know. Good comment here. Do we have to face the same type of attacks for not following the mainstream direction of thought? I'll answer for me. No, nobody approaches me. Nobody goes up face to face with me ever. So no, that's just not a thing. How about you guys?
I've gotten a little bit of hate in the DMs every once in a while, or like nasty comments on Instagram, but you know, every once in a while on campus somebody will come up, but it hasn't been too bad. You know, again, it's on social media, like I can have a conversation with that person or I can delete the comment. So
yeah, it's usually if I get anything, definitely not social media. I'm not popular enough for that one, but it's always on campus. And if it's on campus, it's always a white person. And they'll always call me a racial something. They say I'm a race traitor. They say I'm something. I'm like, dude, I leave me alone. And it's always half the time it's a dude in a dress. Like literally not lying. It's half the time a dude in a dress. That happens too many times. I'm like, you guys are just angry. Or you girls, I'm sorry. Don't cancel me. Whatever they are, they're always angry and they're always trying to call me something because I'm holding a sign that says I love America. Like, leave me alone, man. Or woman, I'm sorry.
Let's make men masculine again. Seriously. Dale, how about you? You get any blowback? I mean, you're out there in the trenches of those HBCUs.
Yeah, all the time. I guess for the most part. I mean, but I take it with a badge of honor because I feel like I don't want to be like everyone else, especially with these crazy leftist ideas. Like, it's not for me or whatever, and I know the truth, so I'd rather stand up by myself with the truth than follow the crowd to like a slaughterhouse or whatever. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, man.
But to reparations. So to talk about reparations, I guess I definitely have a different approach. I think that it was I remember in Washington D.C. at the Blex event, we had a sat down and we talked about it or whatever like that. And even before that event, if you would have asked me, I would have been like, no, you know, reparations it's overdue. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a time. Nothing happened. Oh well, like let's figure out different ways to make things amends. But after doing a lot of research over the last couple of months, I found out a lot of new information, and I do think that reparations are owed to a specific people in America, which would be the African descendants of slavery, or whatever you might call it. I do believe, or Aboriginal Americans, or whatever you want to call it, I do think that they are owed reparations because of a life, like a system that is still in place today. Like, there's a lot of just misinformation, a lot of history that was taught backwards or wasn't even taught at all, or there's a lot of history that was left out of the history books that I feel like a lot of just Americans, Congress, everyone needs to just take a sit back and listen, if anything, learn the history, go back and just try to, you know, right some wrongs, I guess, because I would say that before anyone takes a hard stance on reparations, make sure you know the true history and, you know, go back in the libraries and pick up some books and figure some stuff out before, you know, you take your stance. But then the question becomes, you know, who pays those reparations? And that's another whole nother story. Right. That becomes the question, because no, I do not believe, of course, like American citizens, tax dollars should go to reparations. No, that's a whole complex situation, and a part of the reason why reparations still hasn't been paid out, because people haven't figured that out, like, or that question hasn't been brought to the forefront or whatever, because I believe that Herschel Walker was testifying on HR, this new bill, right, that was supposed to be like a reparations bill, if I'm not mistaken. It's like HR 40 or something like that, 80 maybe, I don't know. But I didn't watch it, but I was hearing a lot about this bill, and if I'm not mistaken, this bill—
Resolution 40 was the number I just looked
at. Okay, HR 40, yeah. So this bill has a lot of misdirections and education in this bill alone. I didn't read the bill, but I listened to Ice Cube talk about it, and that was enough for me. So if Ice Cube ain't rocking with the bill, I ain't rocking with it.
Congress cuts crappy deals and they'll throw in funding for themselves or throw something stupid in there.
Exactly.
You know, and my biggest question here is, what I would ask everybody is, what do you want to see out of reparations? And what's your number one goal from it? And if it's generational wealth, I don't know if reparations is the answer. If you're looking for generational wealth in the Black community, I don't necessarily think reparations is the answer to get there, because I don't think it's going to help out in that sort of way. I think we got to look at some other alternatives or something else. But I think if that's our angle, we got to go somewhere else with it.
Well, I've heard a lot of people talk about reparations. Like I said, I've been researching a lot of history over the last couple of months. And a lot of people, some people who are very educated in the fact, talk about a combination of land and money. And that's what I think would be something, because, 40 acres and a mule or whatever that may be was promised or whatever. So I do think it's more of a land thing. And then my personal opinion is that this US dollar doesn't mean anything anyway. They're going to give us what? Harriet Tubman 20s back by nothing. So I don't think money is the answer. I definitely think land, though, is one of the key factors for reparations.
Yeah. They said the final result may not be the 21st century equivalent of 40 acres and a mule. It might be an SUV and a condo is what they equated it to now.
That's ridiculous. So that's ridiculous. I want 40 acres and a mule.
Lord, that's not land. Lord, that's depreciated. I mean, like, it'll still appreciate and depreciate like land would, but it's not like good land that I would want to have. Like, talking about space, I want like open space.
And that's why we don't need Democrat politicians trying to write anything about reparations.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael, by the way, we are on YouTube and Twitter. We do simulcast on all those platforms, so check us out there too. Like and subscribe. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. So, yeah, it's not just black and white, and I'm glad Dayla did bring that. It's not just a black and white type of deal here, but Congress seems to murk up and ruin everything that they touch. So, where are we in this? Where are we going with this? Like, where is this going to go? I don't think it ends anywhere good.
Yeah. No, the government's not going to do it well. They're not going to give us the money that. Let me not say us, because I don't know if I'm a descendant of slavery. But whoever they give the money to, they won't do it well. An SUV and a condo. I mean, come on now. Like, at least give them 20 acres and like a pony. I mean, like something that's just a little like, it's just disrespectful. That's like somebody owing you $1,000, they give you $5 and like a cheeseburger. I mean, it's not the same, and it's just not comparable. I feel like there are people in this country who are owed something, and that's what I hate when people are like, on both sides, they're very black, like all black people deserve reparations, or no, nobody does. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Like, okay, I'm sorry, Timmy. Like, not everyone had the same opportunities. Like, there are people in this country that have been living generational poverty for like as far as they can remember. It has always been poverty. And it's very hard to get out of that. It's not as easy as, well, I learned how to play basketball in high school. Now I'm in the NBA. Not everybody can do it. Some of us are fat. We can't make it to the NBA.
And some of us, don't forget, school choice by, built kind of that system set up by the government.
That is not my handle. FYI.
I wish I would have seen it. Bring it back. No.
One more time. One more time. One time. Very semantic.
That was funny.
You were saying, Dayla?
But yeah, honestly, I kind of forgot. That was too funny. But yeah, I agree that isn't a black and white issue at all.
Yeah.
And who pays for everything? That's a great question. Honestly, this just seems like government housing again. We're going to put black people back into government housing, into the ghetto. Right. We're going to build another ghetto and put us back in the ghetto. Like, what? Like,
it's like to get you out of the ghetto, we're going to build another ghetto.
Nicer ghetto.
Seriously, like the reservations. I used to live there used to be literally one in my backyard. Highest levels of poverty. Everybody's struggling. There's so many social programs going on. They all had access to free college, but they had the lowest they had the absolute lowest level of college education, even though they all had a chance to go for free. And there's so many issues that this involves. It's not black and white, but 100%.
Yeah, I feel like we got to come together, compromise, like Biden says, guys, we need unity. Let's all come together. Let's hold hands, sing kumbaya, and we'll all figure this thing out. I mean, I don't know. Again, though, like some government cheese would be nice at this point. I didn't get my stimmy. I didn't get no unemployment. I'm sick of this at this point. Everybody's getting government money. I ain't getting nothing.
Hey, Eduardo.
Amanda is worldwide.
Shout out to Eduardo. He's awesome.
That's awesome.
L.I. Peru.
Struggle. Amanda ain't struggling. Amanda's thriving. Out there. She's going to be thriving at CPAC next week, too. Check us out at CPAC.
Yes.
Dale, you going to be at CPAC?
Yeah. Unfortunately not.
What?
Have fun, though.
How did I not know this? Oh, gosh. That's bad news for me. I just found out. Oh.
I know. I wish. But have fun, guys.
I guess. I don't know what to expect at CPAC and all things. I don't know what's going to happen, so we'll have to see. Okay, the last part I wanted to hit here with y'all is Coca-Cola. I was just on Twitter. They just had a link of their great diversity training that they had. I got to share the screen here. You got to blow this up for you guys. You guys got to see it. This is really interesting. We're talking about the Coca-Cola company. I've written papers, articles, reports, did research on these guys. Look at this.
Terrible really company to support.
To complete online training telling them to try to be less white from an internal whistleblower. Look at this stuff. It says confronting racism, understanding what it means to be white, challenging what it means to be racist. Like, how do they just move the goalposts on what racism is? How do you just, oh yeah, that's what racism is now. Like no. Now racism means this, and that instead. Like, who is the CEO of racism?
Like, there was just that whole thing on Twitter where they were like accusing like black people of being too white, and it just now, what does this mean? Like, what does it even mean? Nobody knows what's diverse enough anymore. It's crazy.
That's one figure. Let's look at the next one. To be less white is to be less oppressive, be less arrogant, be less certain, be less defensive, be less ignorant, be more humble, listen, believe, break with apathy, break with white solidarity. Break with white solidarity. My God.
That's what I was laughing at. Break with white solidarity. What in the world?
I stand by my facts that Nickelback is in fact the greatest group that was ever making music in the history. Like, what is it? Is that white solidarity? Are you gonna break from Nickelback? Like, I'm not listening to Nickelback anymore. White solidarity's over. Like, what is this? My God.
Also, what are we supposed to believe? It just says believe. Like, what are? I don't know.
Just believe.
Believe in Santa Claus.
Believe anything. Oh my gosh, this is a shame. This is a shame.
Believe what? Exactly. Is this a whole like believe women, believe black people thing?
I don't believe women, believe men, believe black.
Men lie, women lie, money don't lie though. Hey, in the U.S. and other Western nations, white people are socialized to feel that they're inherently superior because they're white. Researchers with age 3 to 4 children understand that it's better to be white. What? So who did they research? Like, okay, so this is one thing. You research with 3 to 4 year olds. What did you ask them, and how did you get feedback from them, and how did you put this into a study saying that they think it's better to be white? Like, what did you have them point at their favorite color on a litmus test, like a litmus paper? Like, what's your favorite? Oh, that one. Like, what? How do you? This stuff is.
He picked blue. It's not black. He's racist. This is a racist.
This is comedy.
Yeah, this is very sad. This is very sad. But I mean, I remember when I was like in middle school or whatever, or maybe elementary school, that they used to like show us the little doll test. Do you guys remember this? Like, this is like this is like early diversity training, I feel like. But I remember this in like elementary or middle school. They used to say like whiteness was seen better because children during this like social experiment gravitated towards the white doll more than they did the black doll. Even black children gravitated towards a white doll. So that conclusion to that test is that whiteness is superior in society, and basically is saying this research or whatever it goes on this research. So that's just interesting to me, and that's I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I mean, why would they gravitate towards the white doll or whatever if that that's the research, that's the case?
what in the world? Like, I don't know. I remember getting into an argument with somebody a while back that was supposed to be conservative, but they were upset that there was a picture of like white Jesus and somebody like in a building or something. They're like, why they got white Jesus in here? I'm like, well, what do you mean white Jesus? Like, that's white Jesus right there. I'm like, man, I didn't know that was an issue. I didn't realize I was I had no idea it was white Jesus, but I'm like, if you go into the Asian person's house, you might see Asian Jesus, you might see Korean Jesus. You go into the black person's house, I've seen black Jesus before. I'll tell you what, I have seen black Jesus. It's really a thing. It's just depending on where you're at. So I mean, people get legit upset about this stuff. Like white Jesus, white Jesus. I'm like, man, like I didn't know it was that hard. Like I was never that pressed about this stuff, but some people take it to heart. Oh.
Yeah, the whole identity politics thing. I mean, you have it by gender, you have it by race, you have it. I was just talking to some girls tonight. We were talking about like how, for instance, right now with the whole the new press secretary, and everybody is talking about how, oh, she's a woman, so she must be right. Like same thing with race now. It's identity politics, and we used to speak against that, but now everybody just seems to fully embrace it, because if you don't accept it, then you're not diverse enough. You don't believe in facts and logic. Like it's gotten to a crazy point. Like identity politics should not be something that we care about in politics. It should be by your skills, not something that is totally irrelevant to, how skilled you are, or how, skilled you are in a certain set of, what you went to school for, whatever.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, I was raised in everything believing that when I say like Western nations, I did believe, and I still believe that the Western nations, especially the United States of America, is the best in the world because we are the United States of America. And I will not apologize for that. I believe that we are inherently superior to everybody else because there's no other country that has freedoms that we have, that has incredible athletes that we have, the incredible infrastructure that we have, incredible innovation, incredible minds that we have in this country. So no, I believe I'm inherently superior to all other countries, all walks of life, 100%. That doesn't make me a white supremacist, American supremacist, whatever, Western supremacist, sure, whatever, I don't care. But I 100%
called being a patriot.
Seriously, if you're not growing up believing that in their education system, where are you being fed with this communist garbage? My gosh, how do you grow up believing that we're a horrible country, it's a horrible place, and then you wonder why your kids grow up and hate you when you just raised them. They go to college and they hate their mom and dad. Like that's literally what like every leftist that I run into on college campus looks like. They look like they hate their parents. This is bad. It's awful. Yeah. And the last part.
Try to be less white. All
right. Amanda, can you do that for me, Amanda? Can you do that for me, Amanda?
I'll get working on that, I guess, huh?
Well, I want to make a point here. If, let's say, a white person, instead of being white, okay, well, I'm going to stop being white. Get rid of the straight hair. I'm going to have, what are the, I'm going to get an afro instead. Isn't that cultural appropriation? I thought we said this. If they start tanning and they try to be black, that's blackface. That's racist. It's like, what side do you want them to be on? Do you want them to be more white or less white or stay on? Like, I don't understand this. Coca-Cola, you're not making any sense. Thank God Pepsi's better. But like, this isn't, I don't understand this at all.
Where's the line?
Yeah, this is kind of giving me that whole, like, not trying to, whatever, but this is giving me the Black Israelite, like, vibes, right? Man. Where they, like, make white people kiss their feet and, like, like, the whole, like, Black supremacy, white supremacy thing. So this is giving me those vibes, like, try to be less white, like, you peasant, kiss my feet, white person, like, you know what I mean? Like, why can't we just all be great? Our cultural pride, love ourselves, and why, I'm not hating on a white person if they love being white. And I think more white people need to start saying that. Like, I follow this person, they're controversial, but they post stuff about like loving being white. I think white people need to start, embracing their whiteness a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Not trying to, don't be all extra out there, get called a racist, but embrace yourself. Like, don't try to be less white. Like, who's Coca-Cola to tell you to be less white? And they're white. The CEO is probably white telling you to be less white. Like, what? Confused.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, he needs to be less white.
Oh gosh, be less white. I mean, like, dude, white people live it up. Bro, like, you can literally go to Supercuts, get your haircut for $15. I can't do that. That's like, and now like, be less white. Now you're going to go to the barbershop and drop 40 on it? Like, that's just economically stupid. If I could spend less money on my good haircuts, like, I would. Unfortunately, I can't do that. Embrace what you got and embrace, like, make the most of it. Like, seriously, bro. Like, these people over here, but be less white.
And,
like, no, man.
And let me say this too. Let me say this. This is kind of another thing for me, I guess, that they're trying to do this, right? Tell white people to be less white instead of telling black people to love yourself and be more black or whatever the case may be. How about that? How about black people embrace yourself instead of telling white people to lower their standards and lower themselves so you can feel better? Be better.
What does it mean to be black? That's the big thing though, because nobody's gonna agree on it. What does it mean to be black? Because a lot of people equate being black with being hood or being ghetto. And that's the thing is like, you don't, but you're not doing that, then you're not acting black. And then you're not acting. So where is like what that goes in the whole like black people to act black. So what does that mean? Like what does it mean? Daily, if you could define like if you had any sort of answer to like being black, like how do they do that?
Well, look, that's a deep conversation because like we all know, we're all sitting here black people, but we're all different type, we're all different, you know what I mean? So to be black, I think that's played out. It's ridiculous at this point. Like black is a color, white is a color. I was just reading about that today that, these colors we need to go back to like the culture thing or whatever, because it's like, it doesn't mean anything. It's just like you're saying, it's just bringing about always brings up basically negative connotations. So I personally, I don't know what it means to be black. Black is a color, white is a color at this point. I'm out of that conversation.
Yeah. Let's see, can I zoom in here? I'm gonna zoom in a bit.
Oh yeah, awesome. I found this on Facebook earlier.
Dale, can you explain this? Because I don't understand what this is saying to me right now.
So apparently, I seen this in a Facebook group or whatever, and I had to screenshot it because they said that they had got this. This is like a new curriculum or whatever, and explaining white identity. So this is a meter or whatever, and explaining your white identity. And to be a white abolitionist is basically what they want you to be. When they're saying to be less white, they want you to be a white abolitionist. And let me read you just what that means, because I have another thing. So white abolitionist means changing institutions, dismantling whiteness, and not allowing whiteness to reassert itself. So that's what it means when they're telling you to be less white. This is what they want you to be, a white abolitionist. On the other side of the spectrum, we have a white supremacist, which they call right-wingers and Republicans, conservatives all the time. And white supremacist to them is clearly marked white society that preserves, names, and values white superiority. So that to me is just very interesting. You can also see that obviously there's a lot of stuff here in the middle. White traitor. If you're a white traitor, you're good. You're being less white. So, traitor, be a traitor to your own race, whatever. White critical means that you're like a critical thinker. You're critically thinking and going against or investing or exposing and marking the white regime, whatever that is. And then it just goes on and goes on like white benefit. That means that you benefit from white privilege. You might not be a white supremacist. You're not upholding the white superiority complex, but you're definitely just silently benefiting from the white privilege that our society has to offer. So this is some deep stuff, and this is what they're teaching white people. I'm sure they're going to start teaching white students as early as kindergarten, just how they're teaching kids LGBTQ stuff. Why wouldn't they teach kids as well to hate themselves in all types of facets? So
this is in curriculum at school.
Yeah, this is I don't know if this is just some self-hating stuff at this point. I actually just Googled the guy who made it, Barner Hess. He's a professor at Northwestern University. And it's just like, this is, of course he's a teacher. I mean, it makes sense. And he's going to push this, and other people are going to push this. And I really do feel bad for, white kids that are going to be taught that like you're bad because your skin, not because you did anything, but because your skin, and people did things 250 years ago that were bad, or people did things 50 years ago that were bad, and they have the same skin color as you, so that makes you bad. I mean, it's the same mentality of generalization that held Black people down in this country for so long. And now we've kind of overcorrected, and now it's going to the other way. And it's like, we must punish white people because of this. And I disagree with it. I think we really do need to tone it back. I mean, we have to get back to that medium of let's all live happy. Let's all, forget about the skin color for a minute. We're all people. We're all Americans. Let's all go back to like hating Russia or China. Like we don't got to keep hating each other. But it's really an overcorrection, and it's going really far. I mean, like race war kind of far, man. It's going there. Like we're getting to them levels of like we're really hating each other. I mean, like especially if you look online, how people talk to each other. I mean, Jesus. Again, this is why I don't have Twitter, man. I would cry. People are so mean on Twitter. I mean, the fact that they are willing to just say, like, you deserve to die because of your skin color, I thought that was hate speech, but apparently not.
This whole thing, when I look at it, it just literally symbolizes to them that they're somehow inherently better than black people at the end of the day. And if people don't realize it for what it is, this is just their way to feel, we're so much more advantaged and so much better off than black people. Let's feel sorry for them and be the savior at the end of the day. So, yeah, I mean, like that's what it looks like it boils down to me. And as far as hating themselves, yeah, not so much. They do think that they're better at this stuff, and of course, it's this white little propaganda being placed out throughout the way, and what you see every day. So, nothing new to me. But, no. You guys got any final thoughts here? Any last thoughts for the road before we get out of here?
It was a great show. Nice having Amanda on tonight.
Oh, that was great.
Thank you so much, guys. It was great.
Amazing.
Really appreciate it.
Natural, Amanda, with that mic and everything, man. You're just Joe Rogan experience.
Thank you so much. This was great. Thank you guys so much.
Great. Thanks for sticking to it in these discussions. I know some of them might have. I don't even think they made you uncomfortable. That's really great because some people feel like, I don't know what to say, talk about this. So like, I don't know, but it's great.
No, really appreciate everything. Thanks, John. You're awesome. Really appreciate it.
Diehard fans. Yeah.
Follow Amanda's parlor at Old Church.
I don't even know my parlor anymore. So
thank you for getting Amanda out of the basement. I try every day. I try that every day. Amanda's fantastic. We enjoyed having you on. Everybody, thanks for tuning in.
Anytime.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Please like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys again next Friday. It's been a blast. These opinions are not for sale, only found here. Okay, later.